Now, when you check the latest news on your phone or computer, you're hoping to get an objective view of what's going on in the world.
Yeah, the problem is a lot of the news found online these days isn't accurate, and often it's made to skew your view of current issues.
So, in an effort to help you find the facts, Jacqui Denker has tips on how to spot fake news. And that's our featured story at the top of the list.
Fake news has been around since the dawn of time, but now with the advent of social media, it can spread like wildfire.
We journalists, right, used to be considered the gatekeepers of journalism, of information, and now technology has really taken over that role.
Cielo Solis, media expert and CEO of BLENDtw, a Gen Z media and journalism site, shares her tips on what to look out for if you want the real deal. For starters, check the quality of the content.
It's a three-step process for me. First of all, look out for typos, right? If a content has typos, that's just, to me, a really red flag.
Second, before you start reading,
make sure it includes the bio, the information, the name, the social media accounts of the actual reporter.
Normally, there is a protocol on the way journalists credit their stories.
So if it doesn't have a reporter, right, then I would not trust that piece of information.
Third, make sure the content is updated.
If a piece of content has internal links, they're all broken, or it takes you to websites that make no sense and they're not credible at all, then most likely that site is not to be trusted.
Next, when you do read a story, cross-reference with reputable sources.
Think of it as a pyramid. At the top, we have primary sources. Primary sources are institution agencies like Associated Press, Reuters, where they have spent years, right, really just giving you the news. And then secondary sources, we have companies, major media corporations like CNN, ABC, Fox News. They are considered great sources.
These networks have their own journalists, but they also use Associated Press and Reuters as sources.
And then you have tertiary sources, right? Sites like BuzzFeed, Mashable, Huffington Post.
These are considered aggregated news sites. Cielo says that the further you get from the original sources, the more important to double check a story.
You always want to make sure you go back to the original source.
Finally, evaluate the credibility of the news site.
In order to check the credibility of the site, you just have to make sure to check for the logo, look for the URL.
A lot of fake sites try to replicate the URL, logo, and the About Us page of reputable news websites in order to deceive readers.
It's so scary how similar they can be.
For example, abcnews.com is real, but abcnews.com.co is not. So it's really easy to end up on fake news sites.
I feel that if you understand, you have general assessment of how you can navigate the internet, you're going to be fine.
Keeping it real with tips to sniff out fake news is at the top of the list.